11:30 p.m. Your alarm goes off. It's time to go. You glide out of bed into your shoes and skulk your way out of the house. As you ride your bike through the dead street, you hear a moan in the distance. It's just the wind. You just want to go back to bed, play your game, and not think too much. Thinking is a silent killer. You wish Dad was here to brighten the mood, but it's too late for that. 12 a.m. You're here. It's the witching hour. As you approach the rusted old gate, you hear that moan again. Closer this time. It's just the wind. 12:05 a.m. You get inside with 25 minutes still to spare. Just enough time to squeeze in another level. The cemetery can wait. No one's going anywhere. You hear the moan once more, this time extremely close. You look up and your eyes are met with the blank stare of what looks like a zombie. This short is an animated family film about an adolescent boy named Aiden, whose father's recent passing has caused him to become reclusive and display antisocial behavior. As a result of this, Aiden begins to fail his classes and inadvertently disrespect his friends and family, his mother in particular. Once the holidays roll around, Aiden's mother decides that his behavior and failing grades are unacceptable and signs him up for the night shift at the local cemetery as a favor for the owner and a ploy to get her son out of the house and doing something worthwhile.
Begrudgingly, Aiden goes to the cemetery, putting in minimal effort and zero enthusiasm, yet receives high praise for doing so much work that he didn't do. Confused but not thinking too much about it, Aiden shrugs it off and continues as usual, when surprisingly he comes across a zombie man doing the repair job assigned to him. This brings forth the first obstacle for our protagonist, as horrified, Aiden leaves everything behind and runs away to tell the adults about the zombie's presence. But no one believes him, and he is forced to continue working his shift. Eventually, Aiden is put into a position to approach the zombie, as it had found his beloved Game Boy, learning that his name is Graham and recognizing him as a kind soul who places flowers on his wife's grave, as opposed to the mindless brain eaters in his video game.
When the day worker old Jim explains that he is too old and tired to maintain the cemetery, and that an upcoming inspection at the end of spring break will almost inevitably mean that the site will be torn up and relocated, Aiden realizes the gravity of the situation for Graham, who has been repairing the decaying site so that his wife may rest in peace. Knowing that his own father is buried there also, despite refusing to visit the grave, Aiden does not want his body to be relocated either, and decides to help Graham repair the cemetery. Other than the strict time restriction, Aiden must overcome another obstacle when Graham is caught on camera, making old Jim suspicious of a grave robber, and decides to take a look, almost discovering Graham's existence. Fortunately, Aiden manages to hide him and assure Jim that there was no grave robber, just him.
The end is close and spirits are high when Graham's arm is torn off. All hope of finishing the job appears to be lost until another deadly moan is heard from across the cemetery, where a familiar face appears. Together, Aiden, the one-armed Graham, and the zombie of Aiden's father finish the last of the repairs just minutes before inspection. Old Jim passes the inspection. Graham thanks Aiden, uttering for the first time in the film, "Thank you," before returning to his grave next to his wife. Aiden finally accepts Dad's death, giving him one final hug before departing, leaving the Game Boy on his grave, and returns to school the next day with new perspective and enthusiasm of life. He can always visit his dad, even if he doesn't always respond, he knows he's still there, listening.
This short animated film is one that relates to the emotional journey of an adolescent boy who comes to terms with his father's death through being able to help someone in need. He goes from a moody teenager who has no enthusiasm for life to one who cares about the life or afterlife of someone else. Motivations and conflicts drive the story, as Aiden's internal motivation is that he doesn't want his dad to be relocated, which drives his external motivation to help Graham repair the cemetery. The conflicts are the primary antagonistic force that enforces these motivations and provides stakes in a short time frame before the inspection. Aiden's external conflict are his physical limitations and need to hide the zombies, while his internal conflict that he shares with Graham is being able to find peace. The theme of this story is a universal statement that losing the ones we love can make us lose interest in life's joy, but with the help of our friends we are able to obtain closure and move on with our lives.